Hi, I'm Randy Wooden, and welcome to another in our Edge Library series, this time addressing baby boomers and dealing with that salary history question, or what did you make in your last position? Now, let's face it, many times you've already faced this question in the online application, or even sometimes if you filled out a paper application. But let's assume, for this segment's sake, that it's the first time you've received the question from this employer. The question is, what did you make in your last job? Now, you and I both know that there's this shadow behind you that says, okay, I'm overqualified, and the employer is going to see that, and it's going to create some real challenge for you. So perhaps more so for you than maybe a recent college grad, this can be a very difficult question because you don't want to get screened out being too high. You want to essentially dodge this thing and not have it trip you up at this point during the interview. So how do we accomplish that? Well, it's not easy. Here's some ways you can try. I like that analogy with the stoplight. We use that in the what are you looking for question, where you've got a red light, yellow light, and a green light. The green light is to say that you were paid fairly for what you did in the past, and that you would envision certainly being compensated fairly given the scope of the duties wherever you went, and then change the topic, change the subject to something else. Now, if you're asked again, now you're at the yellow light stage, and you can say that your compensation was based on whatever it was based on, salary, bonus, commission, I don't know. I don't know what that package looked like. But even if it was a straight salary, or even if it was hourly, what you want to do is to say I was paid fairly for what I did, given the time that I was there, given my experience and the scope of the position, and certainly would want to work within your salary structure. What sort of range did you have in mind? Notice I've turned around and asked the employer, what did you have in mind? I may get the answer, I may not. Regardless, I have avoided giving not only a specific number, but I've avoided giving a range. Now, you're on to the red light. They might even ask it again, or maybe ask it in a slightly different way. And at some point, you've got to give them information. Even though you'd rather not, what you might want to consider doing then is to give them a range. Say, well, over the past 2 to 3 years, my income has fluctuated a bit. It's ranged from blank to blank. And then you can go on to explain the rationale for that. Maybe it's based on the company's profitability and that sort of thing. But to say that it is what it is. It's a different position, different company, and I'm sure we can work something out. Now, having given that range, and again, you phrase it in words like mid, low, high, and upper, mid-60s to mid-80s, that sort of thing. Then you might, again, ask them what sort of range were they targeting in this position, and restate your interest in working within their salary structure. Because let's face it, if you're a little high, money-wise, in what you used to make, they may look at you and say, well, we don't want to bring this person in because we can't afford them. That's a tough question. In fact, that's something that we tackle in another segment dealing with that you're overqualified question, because it is real and it is a real concern. And we need to be able to address that. If you're a baby boomer looking at those sorts of jobs, it might be maybe a step back from where you've been, certainly money-wise anyway. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this segment in our Edge Library series. Been talking with baby boomers and dealing with the salary history question. What did you make in your last position? I'm Randy Wooden. Thanks for watching.